Okay.
Okay, cool. That'll work.
I'll see you in a few.
All right, cool, perfect. All right, so I just want to go ahead and thank everybody that's tuning in right now. My apologies on not getting back to the messages. It's just a lot of times when these gentlemen are speaking, I don't like to interrupt them. But right now, so Crystal, yeah, I see your message. Please make me a mod. I'll do that shortly. Just give me a moment. I'll go ahead and take care of you. Hey, Mousy, hey, thank you for coming in. Hey, Miss Vero 559, and we also got Casey underscore fan. Hello, and then let me see who else. So right now we currently got Jesse and David, and they are cellies. They're in the same prison. Okay, and the phone's ringing.
This call is now being recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
All right, all right. So hey, I want to go ahead and welcome Jesse and David once again, and we're currently live on both TikTok and YouTube. And you know what, guys? I want to go ahead and give a shout out to everybody that's listening and watching and following and all that good stuff. But we need an intro. And I came across this one. Go ahead.
Hey, you got to. Well, the thing is, look, man. Now that Jesse and I were social media stars. We're social media stars, right? So I got my ostrich skin boots. Jesse, he's gonna start doing MMA fights, and with Logan Paul. And so we're living the high life right now. But yeah, we're still stuck in a prison cell. We're not going anywhere. Matter of fact, our door is locked right now. We are cellies, and this is the thing. So you have to be very, very creative in our intro. I was thinking of the Wayne's World intro.
Wayne's World.
Yep.
Party time.
Yep. Let's see if you have a clip of that.
Wayne's World is
available.
brought to you by Noah's Arcade. Party on, Wayne. Wayne's World, party time. Excellent. It's Friday. It's 11:30. It's time to party with your excellent host, Wayne Campbell. And with him, as always, is Garth. Party on, Wayne, and party on, Garth. Wayne's World!
So I was thinking something. What do you think? Would something like that work? Would that work for us over here?
Hell, motherfucking no. I just want to know who's Wayne and who's Garth.
I swear that thought came to my mind, right? And a part of me,
that would be Dave, who would want to be Wayne and Wayne's World.
A part of me think it works very well. I am weird enough to be Garth.
We'll work on it.
Hey, we're gonna have to work on something.
Miss Vero put David as Wayne.
For sure. That's fun.
Hell yeah.
That
worked.
That made me laugh right there. That was cool.
That's cool though. But we definitely will work on an intro, something to make it a little more formal, And I just want to welcome anybody that are just new to following or that have been following, or like Dave said, who don't know us. We welcome anybody to stream, anybody to put in questions or call in, to generate conversation or whatever, and even those who are opposed to what it is we may be doing here, feel free to holler, but we're not really with the
we don't do the
social media banging.
Yeah, we don't do all that. Yeah.
Like I said, if your opinion differs from ours and you don't agree necessarily with everything we're doing, feel free to give your opinion. But when it borderlines disrespect or borderlines
just who banging and all that crazy stuff. Like we're not trying to hear that. We're not here to gangbang nobody. We don't care if people are on the GP side. We don't care if anybody are on the SNY side. I don't care about the non-designated program guys. That's not the message that we're portraying to everybody. We're here for positive, pro-social conversations. How can we end this beast that is mass incarceration? How can we end it properly? How can we make changes, social changes?
How can we give people a different picture of what's going on inside here? How can we show people a different version of us, despite what you know the media and shit life has shown CDC to be? You know, and again, I said it in the last stream. You know, a lot of the shit that you hear about this place, that's exactly what it was, and a lot of us, you know, partook of that for a long, long time. You know, most of the people who were actually on this channel were all about that life in a real way for a long time, you know, and so that's absolutely what prison is in some places, and that's what it was. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to show everybody that there's real humanity in here. There's people in here that are redeemable. You know, there's people in here who care about life and care about positivity and care about pro-social activity and delivering a message to show people that this is the reason why people are getting softer on crime, and they're allowing people opportunities, and they're putting resources out there for people like us, so that when we do get out of prison, we're able to succeed. So we just want to kind of like show them like, hey man, we appreciate it, and this is who we are. These are the people, you know, here's a voice, here's a couple voices to the people that you guys are investing in, and just know that we're fully capitalizing on the moment.
And people like us, who are we, Jess? We're technically, we are lifers. We have a life sentence. What is a lifer, Jess?
Well, a lifer at one point in time, a lifer to me previously, because like you said, I had life without the possibility of parole. So a lifer to me was a completely hopeless, selfish, callous, cold-blooded individual. That's who I was when I was a lifer. I don't identify as a lifer anymore. Technically, I have a sentence with an elbow behind it, with the L behind it, which is I have 25 to life. If I continue to you know, live the life that I was living previously, they had no problem. They get paid good money to keep me in here for that life.
They got places to send you where you can die in prison. You will die in prison. They got hospice for prisoners.
Yep, for old-ass people to just die in prison.
And we see people drop on these yards all the time. You know, the old man running the track is no more.
Right, and so you ask, who am I as a lifer? Again, and I know you don't either.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I don't identify as a lifer because I know how damaging that kind of verbiage can be. I know that those putting those handles on us, it made it easier for us to subscribe to the chaos that was CDC before the chaos that was prison.
Well, before it was CDCR, when it was actually CDC.
Right, when it was the Department of Corrections. You know what I mean? Like, there was nothing being corrected here. You know what I mean? The reality is we were in here becoming products of our environment. And so for me, having a life sentence doesn't mean anything more than the fact that I have to earn my freedom one day. It means I have to do the hard work. I have to make the necessary transformations in my life, in my mind, in my heart, in my character, in my beliefs, in the way I carry myself from day to day, in order to hopefully one day earn the trust of the BPH, who would allow me back out into society, so that I could ultimately earn society's trust, because I forfeited that in the past. You know what I mean? I gave up, you know, any chance of being out there on the streets, because I didn't care about being on the streets. I didn't care about anybody else but myself, and because of that, I was a very violent and dangerous individual, and so they put me in this place, and I had life without the possibility of parole, and I belonged here when I had that sentence. And so today, you know, I don't see myself as a lifer. Yes, I have a life sentence, but I'll be out of prison within the next couple of years. And so, you know, for me, if anything, it's just something to look at, to remind myself that if I ever decide to go back to being the person that I used to be, then they can easily keep me here for the rest of my breathing days.
I guess, the term is life with the possibility.
Yeah.
You know, I have the possibility.
Determinate or indeterminate.
Yeah, I have an indeterminate sentence right now. I have life with the possibility of parole. I have technically 2 life sentences. You know, I have the 15 plus the 25 to life. So I'm serving 40 years to life right now. I actually have 42 years to life until they modified my sentence recently under was it SB 483, one of those laws that passed. But yeah, I've been conflicted about that term, about the lifer term, because I was already getting into the habit. Okay, well, calling myself a lifer. You know, but my wife and my loved ones, they hate when I would say that, and I said it more out of habit, if anything else. You know, and my wife's opinion was, well, you're not doing LWOP, you're not doing life without parole. I'm like, yeah, but I'm doing 40 years to life. That's a stretch right there. You know, I'm 42 years old right now, but things are changing. Since I received my life sentence in 2015, my board date's in 2031. I go to board in a little over 7 years. So things have changed. Things may change eventually, too, because I received 25 to life for using a firearm. I'm here for shooting and killing somebody. So using a firearm, the 25 to life enhancement is up for debate right now. There are laws that pass where they might be able to remove that. And I'm putting myself in a situation by the way I've been behaving in prison to where, hey, they might take that into consideration, my behavior.
And you know what's ironic? Real quick, let me stop you there for a second.
Yep.
Go on. What's ironic about the justice system is you actually have to serve your enhancement before you even get to serve your term. That's how it was established before. I don't know if it's changed now, but I know previously, like when I was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, I was also given 10 years for the gun enhancement. I only got 10 years for the gun enhancement because I was under the old law.
Yeah.
You're under the new law where it's 10, 15, and 25 to life for using a firearm. So, and it was crazy. Before I could even start serving my life without the possibility of parole, I had to do my 10-year gun enhancement. So it's just funny. I don't know if it's completely like that now because there's so much opportunity.
I've never asked, honestly. I was just like, man, I'm doing 40 years to life. Oh yeah, there's no way I'm going home. Yeah. Whether what starts first or last was kind of like wasn't really the issue for me.
The end game was all the same.
The end game was all the same. You are going to die in prison. You'll never go home. You know, and I've told people that I love. I said, look, man, if I get out of prison when I'm 70 years old, I'm going to be a weird ass old man. You're going to want to keep me in prison.
Yeah. I'm already a weird ass old man.
Yeah.
You're
not trying to put me out of prison at 70 years old after serving 40 years. You know, I'm gonna get me a pickup truck with a camper shell and just cruise around downtown LA at 2 in the morning. You know. Yeah, be one of those guys. But nah, so things are changing, man. They're giving us an opportunity to fix our lives, and they're giving us an option: die in prison or go home.
Yeah.
You can go home in prison. It doesn't matter where you're at either. There's people that are going home on the main line. There's people that are going home on the SNY side, and there's people that are being denied on both ends also. Just because you come into SNY doesn't mean, oh, well, that's a get out of jail free card. You know, just because you stay on the general population doesn't mean, oh, well, you're never going to go home. There's different dynamics to everything. It's just a matter of, look, are you going to do what you have to do to go home? What do you have to do to go home? You got to cut the bullshit. You got to cut the bullshit, and you got to take responsibility. I am in prison because I shot and killed somebody. That's why I'm in prison. I'm in exactly the place that I was supposed to be for committing a crime like that. Regardless of the dynamics involved, the fact of the matter is, I'm here, that person's not. Why is that person not here with his loved ones? Because I made a decision and took him out of the equation. And I got to pay the piper. I have to make sure that what I'm doing for the right reasons. Why have I stopped the bullshit so early? I go to board in little over 7 years. They say the board only asks for 5 years, right? They want about 5 years clean. So
that's a minimum.
That's a minimum. But you know, I've been clean for 6 years already. By the time I go to board, I'm going to be clean 11 years, longer, 13 years, almost 14 years. I'll be clean because I've made a decision. No matter what happens, I'm not going to hurt nobody else. I'm done. I'm done hurting people. I'm done hurting my family. I don't need to do drugs to feel all right. Even in prison. Yeah, I'm in the cell right now. I'm in the cell. I'm looking around. I can reach out and I can touch both walls with each hand. I cannot open my door and walk out. I'm in a level 3 institution. I'm on the top tier. I got a gun tower right outside my window. But it doesn't mean that I'm still trapped by my madness. I'm actually freer than I've ever been right here in this locked cage. You know, I got my boy Jess right here. Me and Jess got a lot of history together, both sides of the fence.
So what would you say? Let just to chime in. So what would you say about maybe somebody that's listening that might be like, oh, well, you've been clean 6 years and you got a long time to board. You know, what are you, soft or something, or you know what is this? You know, because you know there's people out there that probably thinking like, oh man, these guys are nerds. These guys are squares. I know a lot of people who listen to these prison channels. It's people who are enamored by the prison culture, and there's a lot of dudes that call themselves active. A lot of dudes that call themselves, you know, whatever, that go on there and be like, oh, this dude's soft, or this dude's this, that, and the other thing. What would you have to say to something like that? Not that it's for them. I'm just saying for people in general.
I would
see how you look at life today.
I would say that right now, I'm the hardest that I've ever been.
Straight up.
Because I'm standing as a man today. I was behaving like a child before. You know, I have history. You know, you can, like I've told the listeners before, David Isaac with 2 A's, Lopez. Google my name. Read why I'm in prison. I was all over the news. I have a history. I get fined on the main line. I did it for 2 decades running around. I haven't been in SNY. Well, I've been in SNY a little while now. But the fact of the matter is I hung just fine over there. That was the problem. I had no problem sitting in a box accomplishing nothing in my life because that's what children do. I wanted everything to be handed to me. I wanted to be fed. I wanted to be clothed.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
I didn't want to pay my bills. I wanted to sit here like the scourge of society that I was and achieve nothing. That is what I was over there. I'm not saying that's what everybody else is over there. I'm just saying that's what I was.
Absolutely.
I was constant.
An impulsive, immature, reckless.
That cared more.
Individual.
I cared more about my status, my reputation, and what people thought about me than I did human life. That's why I'm here for murder.
It's gonna cut off.
Yeah, it's gonna cut off for now. I'm gonna give you a call back, James.
All right, cool. Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. We'll be here. We'll be waiting, and I want to go ahead and read out some of these comments to you once you guys reconnect, and they're off now. So, hey, I want to go ahead and thank everybody that's here, whether you're on YouTube or on TikTok. Just spreading the love, spreading the information, these conversations that these gentlemen want to have, and I'm here to provide them with that platform. I have the capability of doing it, setting it up for them, and everybody that comes onto these lives and they share their journeys with us. They all offer something different. So like earlier on, we had Gary on. Before that, we had Javi. We had Javi on last night. Javier, we were listening to music. So everybody has something different to offer here.
This call is now being recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
All right, James.
Yep.
James.
What's
James.
up?
Yeah. So
First off, you got anything for us?
yes, actually, man, we got a lot of comments in here, man. We got a whole row of comments here. So we have when we originally started up the live, we had a Mousy. She says hi, hey. Miss Vero 559. She also says hey. We got a Casey_fan. Hello. And then and somebody was asking if who do we get connected to if we call. So if you guys call in, you're actually gonna get connected to these two gentlemen here. So if you want to call in and ask them your questions, feel free to call in. I'm playing operator over here, and as long as you keep it respectful, then we'll go ahead and keep you on the air. If you go left on us, then I gotta do the right thing and cut you loose. We're
not here to go back and forth, and you can't reason with madness.
Yeah,
that's just what it is,
We also got Jojo. Hello from Colorado.
What's up, Colorado? I like the way you say that. You found a way and you always find a way.
That's right. And then we got.
It's all excited when he hears.
No. I want you to say Arkansas. Like
I don't know. I can't say that one. I just gotta say that. I could just say the cool ones.
Hey, Dave be putting you on some cold missions on. he loves it when you talk all felonia. It gets them all pumped up.
Does. Hey, right now, I want you to say Alabama.
Alabama.
No, that was.
Everybody boo that man.
Oh, James, that was. Hey, I need to hear you say Colorado. Say it again. Say Colorado. Yeah, say Colorado again, just so I know that you're still with it.
Colorado.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. I felt like
Super Chile.
Yeah, I felt like I lost you for a second. I was like, oh yeah, we pushed him too far, Jess.
Yep.
He's lost it. He's to the streets now.
Yep. Hey, so what up?
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
We have just like a
First
lot
of all,
of.
I want to say, gracias. Go ahead.
So we got saludos G from 805 Chiques. We got Lucy Gallego, stay up. We also got Leo Senior. He says you just interviewed Jeremy. Yup, yeah, he knows Jeremy.
Yep, that's right. Jeremy was here with us.
That's cool, man. Yeah, hey, much respect to the respectful listeners, to the people who follow us, and the people that are constantly giving us positive feedback. We feel you guys. We do this for you guys. The negative people, the trolls, those people are always going to be out there. And the problem was that I spent too much of my life trying to impress people like that. Yeah, dignifying them, trying to impress people like that, trying to shine. And I'm going to tell you this, no matter what I did, Jess, no matter how hard I pushed, no matter how hard I shine, you can't shine very bright from a locked cage. Because that's where that shit got me. I was in management cells, man. I was in a place called Deep Segregation back there in the dungeon in Chino. I heard they don't even have that like that no more. And I was back there suffering. You know, I was back there hoping that a rat ran into my under my door.
Freeway
so
Freddy?
I can freaking feed it some bread so I can, a Freeway Freddy so that I can interact with something.
Yeah. I just want to send my saludos back to everybody who sent shout outs. We, like Dave said, we appreciate the positive feedback. We look forward to people actually calling in or even just chiming in on the messenger with some questions or anything of that nature. Anybody that has something that they might want us to elaborate on, feel free to do so. Again, like Dave said, we do this for you guys, not just for ourselves. This is also, it's an outlet for us as well. It takes us out of this place for a little bit, helps us to show people who we are today. And it's kind of fulfilling, and like I said, we generated some friends along the way, on YouTube. So TikTok hopefully will be just as fruitful.
Let me ask you a question, Jess, because we're talking about these people that we've never met before. We have a lot of supporters, we have a lot of haters, we got some people that are right in the middle. How do you feel about social media and your place in social media today, right now?
Well, first of all, like you said, I've been down 23 years. When I got, busted, there really wasn't there wasn't no social media. Not that I can recall. I don't remember anything.
I don't even think they say busted anymore. When you were
when I got
incarcerated.
When
you got torcido. Yeah, I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, I had to hit that for him, James, so that way he doesn't get too excited.
Make up for that Arkansas.
Yeah, make up for that Alabama and Arkansas that you fumbled on.
Straight torcido.
Yeah. When you got locked up. Yeah.
Straight torcido. So when I got busted, 23 years ago, there wasn't really any social media. Technology was, cell phones were just starting to boom, and the only ones that really had them were like drug dealers and doctors, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like starting to blow up. But so when the social media came about, I first got introduced to it, I would probably say like around 2009. 2008. No, I think it was about 2008. I had my first cell phone in prison, and back then they used to have things like Moco Space and MySpace and like just different little like weird platforms. And I never really tripped on
Ratchet.com.
Yeah, Ratchet.com. Yeah, that's what they would call it today. But so for me, I didn't really know anything about social media. I didn't know what it was. I was just happy to have a phone and talk to the people that I did know. I wasn't interested in reaching out and meeting strangers, because again, this was my life. I was hopeless. I didn't really care about what was going on out there much because my only ambition was to become somebody in a world of nobodies, which is exactly what I was doing here in prison.
You were rising to the top of the bottom.
Yeah, I was rising to the top of the bottom, and I wasn't a big fan of the social media. I used to hear people, hey, go on here, go on there, and I was just kind of like, like I got shit I got to do, I'm doing stuff, and so as time progressed and I got a little more familiar with social media, I actually had went back to the county jail, and I used to hear all the time, people coming in and out talking about Facebook, and I used to hear nothing but drama. Like everybody that was on Facebook, it was drama. Oh, I got this happened, oh, this happened, and I'm just like, why would you guys be involved in something like that if you know it's going to bring you bullshit every time? But fools are like, oh, you're saying that right now, but wait till you get back to prison and you get a phone and you see what it is. So, and they're absolutely right. You know what I mean?
What would have been your reason for using social media during those days, solely?
Be honest with you, the only thing I could see, but I'm going to share with you why I got on social media. I got on social media simply to use the Messenger app on Facebook so that I could video call my daughter. like to my little girl, my 23-year-old daughter was back then was like.
Oh yeah, there was the video messenger.
Yeah,
was
the
so
video
popular
messenger.
during that time. Yeah.
And it didn't cost them anything. Like you could just go on there, and I could video message with them I could video call with my daughter for free. You know, and again, I didn't know nothing about it. I didn't want to go on Facebook because I was like, man, Facebook. Like I was afraid of it for all the bullshit I'd heard about it. So, anyways, I ended up going on there so that I could communicate with my daughter. And sure enough, because I had established a Facebook page, it just started generating people, you know, and now I'm reaching out to people that I normally didn't talk to, you know, and sure enough, I left from one prison to another prison, and as soon as I get back onto Facebook over there in the other prison, when I got a new phone, it was drama already. Like, and it's crazy, you know. So everything that everybody had predicted and said, and the reason why I had told myself I would never get involved in it, sure enough, it came to pass, you know, like just weird ass drama from Facebook. So you asked, like, how do I feel about, you know, my place to social media?
I do. I want to know. I want to know the perspective, because I have my perspective. I want to know the perspective of somebody who's been in prison for 23 years that came in before social media was very popular. I mean, it was really non-existent at that time, other than the Yahoo. Remember the Yahoo Messenger and stuff like that, which you probably never used. You know.
I have no idea what the Yahoo.
Yeah. So that was I'm a computer guy, so. Back in those days, as you know me,
yeah.
I was very in tune with what was going
on.
Tech
savvy,
absolutely. So, okay, so I want to know your take on all this. What is it like? Okay, we're on TikTok, Jess, and you're not flossing on a 10-second video. Do you even know what flossing is?
I have no idea.
What?
The only floss I know you're talking about is, see these toothpicks in the bag right here with the little floss on them?
What kind of savagery have they put you through, Jess?
No.
Flossing's where the little kid goes back and forth with the backpack, you know what I'm talking about? They do their hands all weird, and they do the little side-to-side thing with the hands, and, you get the Gunthem style. You get the little dances, the Gunthem style, or what is it, the Pharrell with the happy, or something like that. Pharrell did the little happy dances and all that stuff.
Oh, okay. No, that's not me.
You'd probably be more familiar with the twerk videos.
Yeah, you want to talk to me about TikTok? Tell me about the twerk videos, and I may remember. But
realistically, within our small bubble, social media is so much more.
Right.
Social media is so much more. We're talking to thousands and thousands of people.
So with what
possibly
you said,
right now.
Right. So with that, like we established this channel, months ago. I can't recall exactly how long it's been, but how long has it been, James? About 5 months now, 4 months.
We started back in September on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. So since September of last year, we got together, and James decided he was going to start a channel, and we jumped on board. I liked the message, I liked the idea, and it sounded cool. I didn't have no idea what getting on a podcast, entailed, or going on YouTube. For me, when I had cell phones, was going on there and watching videos, or watching crazy,
movies, listening to watching music videos.
Right.
Listening to music, to songs, listening to CDs and stuff like that on there.
Yep. So that's what I used to do with YouTube. I didn't really know what it was about. I do know that anybody wants to learn something, they could go on there. So when he was like, hey, we're going to start this channel on YouTube, I was like, cool. For me, it was all about giving back a little bit. That's like, I wasn't thinking about the social media aspect. I wasn't thinking about being, having followers or subscribers or people actually. I honestly didn't think it would even rock out the way it did, to be honest with you, because I had.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
My daughter was telling me, like, Dad, I got friends that have music videos and stuff like that, and they go on YouTube and they only get like 50 followers, and I'm like, oh, that, to me that sounds like a lot. And she's like, but that's nothing, you know what I mean? So if you get followers or people are listening, that means you guys are actually saying something people want to hear, And so when we actually rocked out and we started getting, subscribers on YouTube, it kind of was like, all right, that's cool. But I was hearing everybody in here talking about TikTok, and I spoke to James and I said, hey, James, maybe we should go to TikTok and see, because that's the more present platform from what I'm hearing. Again, I didn't know the difference. I do know, I see it on the news, and I see that the politicians are trying to.
Something about the Chinese now.
Yeah, the
with
Chinese.
TikTok, that's what I know, that the Chinese are listening to me, and that.
Right, and I'm not worried about that, because these cops are listening to us every day.
Yeah, but.
So to your thing. I was excited when we had gotten over 1,000 followers on YouTube, And so when we came over here to TikTok, and I didn't know that it would actually blow up the way it did. I didn't know that we would have the influence that we did. I don't want to say influence because we're not influencers, but I didn't think that people would. I didn't know that we were open up to the world as broad as we are.
Yeah.
I had no idea
that
how.
You didn't know we were going to get an intro like Wayne's World.
Yeah, I didn't know that we were going to be the next Wayne World.
Yeah, and this is the thing though. So with YouTube, okay, our stories are our stories. This is our normal because we've been in here for so long. Even I've been in here for almost 14 years right now. You've been in for 23, but before this, we were still in here as kids. Before I caught my life sentence, almost 14 years ago, I had been in all the way since 2000. I discharged I picked up my prison number, my P number in 2000, discharged it in 2009, picked up life in 2010. So I had opportunities. But my story was my story. My story was no different than most of the guys around me. A lot of us got out on drugs, didn't really have a plan, and we all came back. So, when I was first asked to do the YouTube podcast, I didn't really know what to talk about. I was, and James told me, look, they want to hear your story. And I'm thinking, well, damn, my story doesn't really seem anything out of the ordinary. But, I've learned otherwise that, hey, my story does matter because maybe something in my story can help keep somebody else from experiencing what I experienced. And that's been my mission. That's my mission today. Before it was to just tell my story. People wanted the content. For those listeners that don't know,
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
my story is on the YouTube channel at You Have a Collect Call From. I believe it's the same stream or same name, but it's over on YouTube. Jesse's story's on there, and people did want to hear what we had to say. That's why I continue doing this, because I believe that we're making a difference. This has given us an amazing platform to do that, to interact with people that might have family that are system impacted. They might be in the system themselves. They might be thinking about committing a crime, including murder. You never know. A lot of people out there. But hey, this phone's gonna cut off right now, James. Want to go ahead and give you a call back?
Yeah, I'll be here. I'll be waiting. Thank you. And Ms. Vero 559 asked, so you know what? I stay away from speaking about the CDCR and from the COs because, to be honest with you, I'm not too knowledgeable when it comes to that. Not only that, I want to stay off that topic because at the end of the day, these gentlemen, they live there. So if anybody's gonna have any repercussions or any blowback, it's gonna be them. I mean, I'm not gonna have to deal with it because I'm out here. But them, I mean, they're in their house, so they could definitely they could definitely make their time there a little bit more uncomfortable or pencil whip them and things of that nature. So I'm not trying to put them in that type of in that type of a setting or try to set them up, if that makes any sense.
This call is now being recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
All right.
James.
So right now, somebody had asked me if we ever talk about the CDCR or the guards or anything of that nature, and I was just mentioning to them that we stay off of that topic because if we were to talk about it, I'm not well versed on that, and also at the end of the day, you guys live there. You know, is your house, and any blowback or any backlash or any pencil whipping, you guys are the one that are gonna have to deal with it. So we stay away from those topics as far as administration and things of that nature.
Okay. Well, let me touch on that just a little bit. The thing is, look, we're not here to bash anybody. Everybody, we have a different perspective towards what we experience with the guards. If there's a reasonable question in that regard, we have no problem answering it. Is it because we do live in here? So it all depends on what the question is in relation to the guards. Do we want to describe the guards? Do we want to give you their names? Absolutely not. Do we want to? You know what I'm saying? It depends. Do we want to talk about the female guards and whatnot? I see females in here every day that work in here. They are somebody's mother, wife, sisters, daughters. So we're not going to get into that. We're not going to disrespect anybody. I'm a married man. It depends on what you're asking in relation to the guards of the administration, because I've seen a lot of good ones and I've seen a lot of bad ones.
And despite good or bad, we don't have an us versus them mentality anymore.
No.
For years and years and years, it was easy for us in here to buck authority and buck the establishment and you know, have that, you know, fuck the police mentality, because we had that us versus them mentality. And the reality of it is we don't have, I know I don't, you know what I mean? Like Dave said, there's going to be assholes just like there's assholes in any profession. You know what I mean? There's going to be good COs just like there's good people in any profession. And that's what it is. It's a profession now. They're retraining them in a different way. The culture is changing for them just as it is for us. But as far as like bashing on them or having anything bad to say about them, like, it's really, to us, we don't feel like that there's any probative value in that message. You know what I mean? Like, because again, you can't paint everybody with the same brush. We're trying to show you guys how we're somebody different, but the reality of it is, how many locked up Nat Geos, how many Gangland, crazy shows have you watched that would paint us all with the same picture of them guys are savages, they're murderers, they're this, they're that, and the other thing. So I don't think that would be fair to
paint them all with one brush. It's just But anything else? James?
No, yeah, that was it. I just wanted to throw that out there just in case somebody was wondering. But I guess she was wondering because these calls are being recorded. She wouldn't want us to get in or get you guys into a wreck.
Well, there's a reason. Look, we try to do this the right way. We try to do this the right way. We make these calls on a recorded call. We use the Spanish version of it more because of YouTube. It says there's a Spanish recording that comes on when we make these calls. We have an English recording, but we were getting hit for copyright on YouTube, so that's why we use the Spanish one. But we're not hiding anything. We live a clean life in here. We know that being in prison, we are subject to cell searches. We are subject to meet. We have to follow the rules in here, the security in here, and so it's a fine line. That you just have to be careful. They turn the keys in here, and we just have to understand that. Before, I didn't respect that. I felt like I was the one running shit in here. And at the end of the day, I wasn't running nothing. I was just running my mouth. Yeah, I was doing stupid shit, but they're going home to their families every day, and they're laughing. Look at that dumbass sitting in the hole right now because he didn't know how to shut the fuck up.
They get paid to come in here and treat us like shit if we put them in a situation to have to do something.
Yeah, and I don't get involved with policing the yard and doing stuff like that. I'm not here to pass on what I see and stuff on the yard. I'm not one of the yard informants or anything like that. Like, I mind my own business. At the end of the day, look, I'm not here to fight crime. I'm here to get home to my family and to better myself, period. If I see something on the yard, guess what? It's none of my damn business. They're paid good money to deal with stuff like that. They have a lot of security stuff on to deal with stuff like that. These cops walking around with bombs on them, stab-proof vests. They got freaking super coverage. They got gun towers protecting them. They're protected to deal with the security issues in prison. All I do is talk about my story. When people are curious, I tell how I changed and what it took for me to get to where I'm at right now, because it wasn't an overnight thing.
Okay, with that in mind, right? You asked me about how did I feel about my place on social media.
Yeah, I know how you feel about your place in prison. How does it feel knowing that you have this many followers on social media, Jess?
No, well, for me, it's like I said, for a long time I sought to be validated by a bunch of negative elements, by unsavory individuals. You know what I mean? Through all kinds of craziness. I sacrificed myself and many other people along the way to feel good about myself, or to validate my presence, or to mask insecurities that I may have possessed. And so it's just a trip now that I'm living a pro-social lifestyle. When the other day when we went live on TikTok the first time, James is like, hey, in just that 2-hour stream, we got.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
And when I see people on the news and on TV like doing crazy ass stuff to get followers, right, and people are dying and just madness, right? In my mind, I'm like, well, what does that even mean? Like, why would you subject yourself to this weird? Why would you put your whole freaking life? Why would you just? To me, I just didn't understand it, and to me, I felt like it was ignorant, right? However, I can somewhat understand. Not to the extent that some of these people are going and the necessity they feel to just document every moment of their life, and they have no identity outside of who they think they are on social media or whatever, right? But I will say this, like hearing James say, hey, man, it's crazy you guys got 500 followers after in that 2-hour stream. I'm not gonna lie, like it kind of made me feel cool. It kind of was like, man, that's all right. It kind of validated me in a sense, made me feel like, okay, so maybe there are people out there who really want to hear what we have to say with respect to who we are and who want to share this message the same way that we want to share it, And so it just, I won't lie, it felt good,
And what do we have to say, Jess? What's look, my message? You don't have to suffer anymore.
We good.
What's up? Our door's open right now for the listeners. That's just the sounds of prison right there. Hey, Andrew. Hey, you wanna say what's up to thousands of people right now?
Hey.
What the fuck?
Beat it,
hey,
nerd.
Beat it, nerd. Hey, absolutely, that's what they heard. That's Andrew, gay guy in prison. Door's closing. All right. Now they opened our door for dinner right now, and we have a bunch of jokesters walking by.
Hey, so let me ask you something. Right now that they opened up the door, we got a question in here. We got two questions that I want to ask you. Okay, the first question is from Ms. Vero 559. She's asking, what advice do you give someone that has their loved one in prison because it's not easy?
How long do you have?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm so sorry that you got to go through that, because I put my loved ones through that for a long time, and I was so blind that I didn't understand how I was hurting the people that I loved. And so I don't know what the situation is with your loved one, but it's very difficult to answer that, because it's terrible that you have to go through that. My advice is just be strong and know that nothing, unless you were directly involved in calling the police and throwing him in jail, nothing you did, even if you did that, nothing you did, you're not responsible for why he's in prison. We make decisions and we come to jail. We bring our loved ones with us along the way, which is unfortunate. My advice is just be understanding that he's in a very dangerous place. He's in a very sad place. He's in a very lonely place. You have to know the difference of the things that he needs, the things that he wants, and the things that might feed his addiction. And so it's something that you have to be open-minded about.
Everybody's situation's different, and like Dave said, we couldn't give you direct advice unless we knew the specifics surrounding your loved one's circumstances. But like there is definitely a across the board, similarities no matter where you're at, because prison is prison, and no matter what, your loved one definitely needs somebody there to love them, to support them, to understand them, and to hold them accountable. Because I will tell you this, having enablers in my life enabled me to continue to live destructively in here for a long time, because I didn't have people really holding me accountable. It wasn't until I started caring enough about those who cared about me that I was able to take the courageous steps in order to change my life. And like Dave said, for the longest we never understood. I literally would tell my loved ones, like, why are you worried about what I'm doing in here? I'm the one doing this time. I'm the one that has life without the possibility of parole. I'm the one that's never getting out of prison. Like, why are you worried about me? If I'm getting high, or if I'm going to the hole, or if I'm stabbing somebody, or I'm doing this, what does that have to do with you? You know what I mean? Like, because they would give me regañadas, they would give me like a hard time, and I couldn't understand, like, what you tripping on me for? I'm in here in prison, you know, like I was playing the victim, and a lot of people in prison have a victim mindset, you know, and so I would just advise you to just be patient with them. Again, you know, we're living, breathing proof that everybody has potential to change and turn their life around. So if your loved one is still struggling with the criminal lifestyle, with addiction, with whatever might be going on in his life, just know that there's always potential. And if he's a lifer or he has a bunch of time,
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
that can put him closer to the door, you know. So just know that he's not he's not lost, you know what I mean?
Yeah, prison today is a lot different than it was when we first came in, 2 decades ago.
Right.
It's a lot different. There's a lot of opportunities right now. There's always going to be the feeling of loneliness and emptiness in this place. No matter how good we do, it's prevalent. It's always around. That sucks that you're going through that.
And she writes,
just be strong.
She wrote that so she writes, Miss Vero 559. She writes he has 2 more years and worried he would go back.
Okay, so
He's worried or she's worried?
she sounds worried.
Yeah, she's worried that he's gonna.
Okay, so this is the thing, and I talked to a lot of the short timers because 2 years he's short to the house.
How long has he been down?
Yeah,
Probably doesn't even matter.
Yeah, 2 years to the house. Know this, that if he hasn't stopped using drugs and he's still involved with gang activity, he's coming back to prison. 100%. I tell these guys all the time that are short to the house, and when I see him messing around, I tell them, look, your bed is still going to be waiting for you when you come back. I tell them the problem is that you can't fix problems once you get out of here. You have an opportunity to work on those problems now. If you can't stay sober right now, you're definitely not going to stay sober out there. There's drugs everywhere in prison. This place is full of drugs. We see people OD in here all the time. The thing is, right, it's a choice. People can still say no. Jesse and I have been involved with drugs in here. We've been involved with moving drugs and all that other madness. The thing is that we both understood that we had to correct that behavior, or we were going to come right back to this place that we don't want to be again.
We were never going to get out to begin with.
Never going to be out to begin with. I came back time and time again because I never left with the plan. You have to put it in your loved one's head that he has to start making changes now. He has to. If he's still in the over there on the GP side, I'm not trying to encourage anybody to.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
That's not what we're trying to do on this channel. But he has to at least stop the things such as the using drugs.
Shit that brought him to prison to begin with.
Yeah, he has to stop it, or he'll be back.
And hopefully he's of an age where he's reached a certain. You can age out of this bullshit too. You know, you get to a certain. Was that the 60 seconds?
That's the 60 seconds.
Go ahead, we'll call back.
Yeah, we'll give you a call back, James.
All right, cool. Hey, perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so they're 15 minutes. We're up, and I'm going through these questions. It's just I'm only one person, so whenever there's a break in between their conversations, I'll get in there and ask them questions that I see on here. So really appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to these gentlemen. These pair are definitely they definitely crack me up at times and definitely bring some good advice to this stream here. They've been on since
This call is now being recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello.
All right, James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I have another one from Ms. Gomez _ Dem Rascals. She writes. Let me see. She writes. My husband has been incarcerated 23 years and is doing good. How do I keep him positive and focused? And she also wrote a little
Okay.
bit a few comments later. She said that he was denied for 5 years and it took a toll, but I want him to be positive.
Okay, so that's a great question.
Awesome question.
No. Okay, so Jesse's been in for 23 years, and he was denied 3 years. I know some people that were denied 5 years for whatever reason. The thing that should keep him positive is the fact that 5 years isn't as bad as we see in some instances. 5 years basically tells you that he still has some work to do. It might be an insight, might be a question of insight or denying something. Generally, that's what we see when somebody's just in denial. Like the board will ask a question that they usually know the answer to, and people will fight them on it in a lot of ways, and they'll try to beat around the bush and they'll try to minimize. Minimizing will get you a 5-year hit. He could petition to go to board sooner. I'm sure you guys know that if he's somebody that has a life sentence going to board, he can petition sooner. And what keeps me going, even knowing that I got 7+ years till board, what keeps me going is that I'm seeing lifers go home every year. We're seeing several lifers go home. I don't want to see every day because that's just not realistic, but I'm telling you, lifers are going.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
The mark generally the mark that they look for is between 20 and 25 years. I go to board and I'll be in for 21 when I go to board, but I would encourage him to lower his custody level. If he's still on a level 4, try to get to a level 3. If he's on a 3, try to get to a 2. Level 2 is an ideal place to go to board from.
I think I'll go ahead and chime in there in that area.
That's along your area right there.
Right. So, like Dave said, I went to board last year on my youth offender thing. I went to board in February, actually on Valentine's Day of 2023, and I was given a 3-year denial, right? And I want to like give you guys a little background story. So that the year before that, I had actually went to court and picked up more time for my last shoe, the last shoe that I got in February of 2020. And we had previously mentioned that they expect 5 years clean minimum for anybody going to the BPH. Before they'll even consider letting you out of prison, they want 5 years clean, and that's the ground, standard. And so, I had actually had 9 write-ups within that 5-year window. I had 3 years without a write-up when I went in there, but prior to that 3 years, I actually had 9 write-ups in the 2 years prior to that. So, and I was able to receive a 3-year denial, which was a blessing. You know what I mean? So I will say this, through my experience of dealing with a bunch of people that have gone to the BPH and dealing with board prep and dealing with, many lifers and the recovery community, I will say that if you get a 5-year denial, 9 out of 10 times it's because you went in there either lacking insight in a major way, you went in there in denial,
confrontational maybe,
or you had recent serious disciplinary history. Again, I thought 3 years was big to me. When I went in there, literally she opened up the hearing with, hey, let's talk about all this disciplinary you've had recently. And it actually, I felt like, in my mind, I'm thinking recently, 3 years, to me, that was big shit. I felt like, what are you talking about? This is the best I've ever done in my life, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But that's just how conditioned I was to normalize and the behavior.
And I know the way you think. You're probably like, when's the last time you did something wrong?
Yeah.
I know it was within 3 years.
Right. And but I kind of felt like to me 3 years was a big thing, because that's just all the time I had done prior to that. I received write-ups constantly. That's just what I did. I had no respect for authority. I had no respect for law. I had no respect for, pro-social activities. You know, it was my job to break the rules as far as I was concerned. And so, anyways, so if he received a 5-year denial, a guy went the same day that I went, and he also got a 5-year denial. Mind you, this guy had been incarcerated for 30 years almost. He had one write-up in 13 years. He actually went with me from this yard right here. We had actually discussed the process prior to going, and I talked with him for 5 minutes, and I told him, hey, Doug, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? The reality is, you're talking about all these programs that you participated in. You're talking about all the stuff that you've done, all these certificates and this, that, and the other thing. But I'm going to tell you straight up, dog, I'm not even the BPH, and I'm telling you right now, you full of shit. Like, they're going to bang you. And he's like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? And it's just, when you're in denial and you still subscribe to the bullshit, there's only so much BS and you're going to go in there and do. You got to go in there and be genuine. You got to go in there with insight, understanding, remorse, responsibility, and denial cannot be anywhere in the toolbox.
Can't. If they ask you about something, they'll like a common question will be like, okay, well, you had a cellie, they got caught with some pruno, you know, back in this day, you know, and they'll be like, so why were you making pruno? You know, and they'll ask him something like that, you know, he'll be like, well, I wasn't me, my cellie's the one that got in trouble with the pruno. I was at work, you know, he was doing that, that's none of my business, and whoop-de-whoop, that's a standard denial
right.
conversation. I'm not saying that happened to him or anything like that, but those are the kinds of questions that the board will ask you. Well, you're telling me that you were in a cell with somebody that was making wine,
And you didn't know it?
And not only that, even if you did know it, you didn't move out of there?
Yeah, so you clearly are not following the rules.
You're clearly not following the rules, because you could go and ask to move out, and then they'll say, well, yeah, but I don't want to get into a fight or nothing like that. I don't want to do this and that. I don't want to tell on him. I don't want to do this. Well, yeah, no one's saying to tell on the guy, you know, but there's rabbit holes that they'll get you down when
Right.
you're in denial.
And that's and again, that goes back to, like the commissioner said in my hearing, you know, when my attorney asked, well, I find this ironic that this is the initial suitability hearing and we have not discussed the life crime once. And she said that, she goes, you're absolutely right. She goes, we're here to determine if Mr. Nava poses a future risk for violence. And the best indicator of risk for future violence is past violence, past recent behavior. So, and we have all these write-ups and we have all this past, you know, behavior. I think it's pretty good indicator that he still poses a risk today. However, he's obviously on a good path. You know, these 3 years do not outweigh 18 years of just chaos. You know what I mean? So, anyways,
Rich went in there recently, huh? He got, what, an 8-year hit?
What Rich?
The one that's down the way right here?
Yeah, he got a 7-year denial.
7-year denial.
Yeah,
huh?
he got a 7-year denial. Yeah.
He was crushed.
Right. And what at the time he was just coming from the main line. He had no idea what insight was.
Yeah.
He had no idea what taking responsibility for his past actions or his present behavior. And so, to answer her question, right, how do you give him hope, right? The reality of it is, all he has to do is look around, because I promise you, on every yard, unless he's on some crazy, violent, level 4, 180 general population or SNY yard where there's just a bunch of hopeless people, if he's on any yard, even 270, level 4s, SNY, GP, no matter where you're at, people are paroling, level 3, level 2. And if you're looking for hope, look around and see the people that you know that are just like you, people that you can see that have transformed their life, and watch them walking out of here. I'm seeing them constantly. That's what did it for me. I've seen people like, man, you know, and if they can do it, then why can't I do it? That guy's just like me. That guy's been through the same shit I've been through. He's walked through the same jungle and same trenches that I walked through. So, and if he's looking for hope, look at those people, you know, and then start asking questions like, hey, man, what did you do? Like, how did it work? When people come back from those parole hearings and they're being found suitable, be like, hey, man, what's up? You know, start going to the self-help programs, and don't just go into the self-help program looking to regurgitate something that is given to them. Go in there and listen to what's being said, because I went to self-help programs before, and it meant nothing to me. They were speaking a foreign language. You know, it didn't align with my ideology. It didn't align with my belief system. So to me, I couldn't hear. I wasn't hearing anything.
You don't got to go in there using $1 million words either.
No, not at all. You don't need to go in there and talk like a freaking doctor, or a scientist, or like a poet. You know what I mean? Like, you go in there and you're honest, you're open, you're forthcoming, you're insightful. That's what they want. They need to know that you know how you got to become the person that made the horrible decision that put you in prison, that has you in front of them on that day of your parole hearing. And if you understand how you became that person, they're a lot more confident in making a decision of setting you free, because a lot of times it's their belief, they're of the mind that, hey, if you know how I got here, then you could prevent it from happening in the future, which is true. You know, when I started understanding why I was using drugs, why I was angry all the time, why I was violent, why I was addicted to power and control, why I felt the need to be validated by a prison gang, why I felt the need to be validated by a bunch of other people that were just as hopeless as me, when I started to understand that, my value system changed. You know, my priorities started to change. You know, and along with that, my character started to change. My behavior started to change. My emotions started to change. So for your loved one, if they got a 5-year denial, it's a pretty good chance that they went in there not ready for that hearing. But that doesn't mean anything. I've seen dudes go in there, get a 5-year denial, and go home on the next one. I wouldn't advise him to petition to go back early unless he's been doing this thing for a while. But 9 out of 10 times, you don't get 5-year denials anymore. It's rare for them to give you a 5-year denial unless you go into the hearing and you either lie to them.
He's got to make a change.
Yeah.
Something in his life has to change right now.
Yep.
You'll know it, and he'll know it. Whatever that is, he's got to make a change.
And if he's looking for hope, tell him to look to you. If it's your dude, if it's your vato, if it's your man, your brother, whatever it is, you know, like, look to you and to look into his heart and think like, man, what am I putting my loved one through by being in here? What am I subjecting my loved ones to? Because for me, that's what helped change my life. I didn't change my life to get out of prison. Getting out of prison became the end result for me. But I changed my life because I got tired of hurting the people who I knew loved me. I couldn't tell my kids, I couldn't tell them anymore that I love them. I couldn't tell my family that I love them, but yet I was making no effort to get home to them, you know. And it wasn't until I started to realize, like, man, I'm hurting these people. Like, they're expressing it to me, and time again, I always had some bullshit excuse as to why, the homies, this, that, I had to do it, I had to do this, I had to do that. And it wasn't until I came S&Y that I didn't have anybody else to blame for my behavior, and I was still in the same situations. I was still involved in the same bullshit, you know. I found myself in ADSEG again, picking up charges, and I had nobody else to blame anymore. And it was like, hold on, man, who are you going to blame now? I had nobody to blame, and that's when I had to stop and look at myself and do some reflection. And I came to the realization, like, you know what, man, you're the common denominator in all the chaos in your life, you know. Sure, the faces change around you, but you're the one constant in every level of bullshit that you're involved in.
Yep.
And so it made it, once I came to that realization, I was able to start making changes. And when I started to make changes in myself, I started to develop hope, and I started to realize, you know, and I was seeing people around me prior to beginning my change and getting into recovery and getting sober. I was seeing people that I knew getting out of prison or being found suitable, or even just changing their life and seeing how happy they were compared to how I was, you know, how miserable and how I was still involved in the rat race, you know what I mean? And I'm looking at them like, man, why is this dude happy all the time? You know, like, why does he seem free and he's still in prison? And I would listen to him, and again, it sounded like a foreign language to me, but it planted little seeds of hope in me. You know what I mean? It made me start to think like, man, these guys are going home. That's crazy. So you mean to tell me having a life sentence doesn't mean I'm doing life anymore?
Nope.
You know, so just tell your loved one just to stay hopeful, and just know that the only way he's going to get out of prison is if he does the work himself.
And he's not going through this alone.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Hello, guys.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
So,
His community.
So a moment ago, she mentioned that he got denied due to criminal thinking. They were originally going to give him, I guess, a 10-year denial. Oh shit, we got a call. Shit, but my phone's not ringing.
Hey, I'm gonna call back right now though.
Okay.
I'm gonna call back. Hold that call.
Okay.
If it's a troll, bounce him.
All right.
Call back.
Hello. Hello. Not yet. I wanted to see who it was. If you don't mind calling back again, then I'll pick it up on the live. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. All right, so we are waiting right now. See, hopefully the phone rings, and right now when the call reconnects, then we'll go ahead and okay, here. Oh, here we go.
This call is now being
Esta
recorded.
es Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello, hello.
What you got for us, James?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we got a call. Hold on, they're kind of low. Can you talk,
Yep.
caller? Hello. It's kind of low. Talk a little bit more. So I'm trying to adjust the volume here.
Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, we can hear you. Perfect. Yep.
Yeah.
So right now
What's
we're
up?
live on the air with Jesse and David. Who's calling?
This is Paige from Utah.
Oh, hey, thank you, Paige, for calling in
What's
from
up,
Utah.
Paige, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Hey,
call
try to
and
say
say
Utah
that
like it's
you
solo.
guys are doing. I just want to call and say that you guys are doing good things, you know, and I'm always happy to hear your stories and you guys keeping like a positive mindset. Like you guys are changed men, and I hope others can also see that. So I just want to say keep your ambitions going and just keep going. You guys are doing great.
Hey, we appreciate you. Hey, we appreciate you. Your words are cool, man. This is David. Your words are encouraging to us, man, and keep us going. We appreciate you always. Yeah, thank you for listening.
Yeah, that shit means a lot. And that's kind of, you know, like I said earlier, you know, it validates us in a sense. You know, I mean, it's cool because it lets us know that this isn't, you know, it's not for naught. You know, like somebody's listening, somebody recognizes, somebody sees, and it motivates us to continue to do the right thing. It motivates us to continue to deliver the message, and we appreciate your feedback. Thank you for calling in. That's cool, you know.
That's cool. Yeah, you take care of yourself, Paige.
What part of Utah are
Yeah.
you from?
Herman, Utah. You know
Herman,
where
I
that's
never even
How
heard of
far
that.
is that? How far is that from West Jordan?
at? About 20 minutes.
Tell James.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Tell
about
James
20
to say it like a cholo.
Hey, well, hey, thank you
Herman.
for calling in, Paige. Really appreciate it, and man, hopefully you're having a good day today.
Yeah, no, you guys
Yep.
too.
Thank
Have a
you,
good
Paige.
one.
All right, you too.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
right,
Thanks
right.
for calling in.
Hey, so
Little man's sister, remember that?
so Miss Gomez, she writes that her dude was in a level 4 270. He went to level 4. He went to a level 3 GP. So he's doing good. He's just in a tough situation, and he don't see it.
Yeah, it's rough. Of course, and the thing is, we didn't either.
Yeah.
You know, when we were over there, it is tough because you're bound by rules, though. You're bound by rules, and you're bound by whatever organization is in charge there. You know, they run the show, and it's hard. You know, and those are things that we put our loved ones through during those years, where we decided that we had to make a change, and it's not easy. It's not easy to make that change. I'm married, and my wife was instrumental in my change. So you can be his shining light. You know, I was still gang involved. I was still deeply involved with my criminal activity, and I was still using drugs. But when I got my life sentence, and my wife, yeah, she was done though. You know, she was done with my bullshit. But she wasn't gonna let me go, and she wasn't gonna let me fall into the system, into this abyss. You know, she showed me what real unconditional love is. And that's what got me over the hump. She came back in my life when I had actually lost my visits. I lost my visits for using meth.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I was sober because I was on mandatory drug tests. So she asked me, you know, she's like, "Hey, well, you're clean right now?" I said, "Yeah, I'm clean." You know, but you know, I have to be clean because I'm on mandatory drug tests. She was like, "Man, you're still in there getting high? Like, what the fuck's the matter with you?" You know, and I had to explain, well, I was putting in work. I was constantly in trouble. I was constantly on C status, and she's asking me. She's like, well, why why are you going to lose your phone privileges? Because when you're on C status, you lose your phone privileges. You know, this is still in the level 4 yard, and I'm telling her, well, I'm getting into to a lot of fights. I got assaults and stuff like that. And she's like, well, why are you doing that? I says, well, I have to, you know, I had to do what I had to do. You know, she's like, you know, I told her it was gang related. And she was like, man, you know, you're still doing stupid shit like that. If I come back in your life, this is what I'm gonna have to deal with. This is why I lost you to begin with. You know, because we were together out when I was out in the streets, and I had to make a decision. I could sit in here, and I could keep getting high. Getting out was not even a thought in my mind. I told my wife I'm never getting out of prison. During that time, she didn't believe that, but I believed that at that time, and I was behaving as such. But I had to make a decision, and my wife's love is what got me over the hurdle, because I thought, you know what, I'm never going to put a chemical before her again, such meth, heroin, whatever else nonsense I was doing, and I'm also going to have to separate myself from the gang, because I'm doing more for this gang than I am for this woman who is writing out a life sentence with me, not knowing if I'm ever going to go home or not. Somebody who was all over the news for murder. She's throwing it in with me. Let's do this. But I need you with me so we can get through this. Because if we have certain things that I can have, such as family visiting, phone calls, she goes, you're not going to take that from me.
And I think that connects to what that other listener, when she asked about hope and asked what can she do, that's a great catalyst for that topic, because the reality of it is, continue to be there for that person. Continue to love that person. Don't necessarily enable them. Don't support them in a way that you're supporting their drug habit. You know, like you've obviously been doing time with them long enough to understand, you know, what it is, and maybe you don't. Who knows, right? But I would tell you this: be there for them, because it's having that love and having that support that tends to break through that armor and that callousness of a lot of us in here, that and gives him that hope that he needs. That says, you know what, man, like, I don't want to hurt this person. Because after be doing this long enough and you get old enough, you start to realize, man, these people don't care about me. Nobody cares about me. What am I doing? You know, like, I'm trying to fulfill an obligation that is an illusion, or I'm sacrificing myself and my loved ones at the expense of somebody else's vision or somebody else's cause or ideology. And when they look back and they start to realize, if they do, like Dave and myself, when we came to the realization of how that was the only thing that changed either one of us, was realizing how our life, we signed up for this. That, living and dying in here was 100% okay with us, because this is what we've done our whole life, and this is what we signed up for. We knew that this is what it would be. But it wasn't until we had somebody there, we started realizing our kids were getting grown and we're missing their life, our loved ones are getting grown, Dave got married, things like that you start to realize, man, somebody loves me when I don't deserve love, you know. Somebody, and you start to quit. At least that's how we believe. You know, at that point in our lives, we were like, man, but like, this is what we deserve.
I'm not good enough for this. You know,
I'm not good enough for this. And then you got somebody that comes along, or your kids start getting old enough to say, hey, Dad, like, they're not babies anymore. They're not living no illusions. They see what it is, and they're like, hey, Dad, what the hell are you doing? Why are you in the hole again? Or, hey, why are you calling me on a cell phone? Every time I get close to you and you lose your phone, I'm the one that ends up getting hurt. Like, I'm cool. I don't want to have a relationship with you if I'm the one that's going to keep getting hurt. Things like that start to make you question, like, what am I doing? You know, what am I doing? Like, it's one thing when I'm shitting on myself, but now I'm shitting on those, or now I'm coming to the realization that I'm shitting on those that love me. So just continue to be there for them in any way that you can, and love them, and let them know what it's doing to you, you know, by the life they're living. And sometimes it'll give them that motivation, that strength to say, hold on, man, I don't want to be without this in my life. I don't want to hurt these people anymore. What do I have to do? And it'll give them the strength to make that courageous change.
They're supposed to be able to program over there too, though, especially on 3 yards. Yeah, he has an opportunity to do good, but they won't let him go. They won't let him play both sides, though. That's the only thing. If you go to them and you tell them, hey, man, I'm ready to go home and I'm ready to do good, that's it for you. You know, they're not. You can't come back from that, though. But you don't have to leave. You know, but you just the neighborhood and all that other stuff. That's all secondary stuff. You know, most of the time, if something big pops off while he's around or something like that, that's different. You know, But generally, they let those guys kind of stay to themselves and do what they do. Before, it used to just be the Christians. You know, when people would be Christian, they would still be on the line. They would be around. We all seen them. You know, we would say, you know, fucked up stuff like, oh, well, that fool's just hiding behind the Bible, and we would say stuff like that we were just trying to look cool. But realistically, we wish we had the balls to live how he was living. You know, and it's just a matter of he's gonna come to the realization when he's ready. Hopefully, it happens before he's in prison for 30 years. Before he decides. He's in for 23. He got that 5-year hit. He's lucky he didn't get 10 years. He's gonna wake up when he wakes up, and he'll be lucky if you wait around for him. A lot of times our loved ones are just like, look, Holmes, you go ahead and do you. It sounds like you want that more. You know, and it's unfortunate when that happens, because there's a lot of good guys in here.
And I want to read off the last three comments she dropped on here on the chat. She puts a thank you. It's helped me see it can happen. I try to understand him, which is hard to do. Which is hard. It don't usually make sense to me, but I won't leave his side. He has changed a lot. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for helping settle my heart. I've been stressing for our marriage.
Yeah, that sucks, man. You know what? My wife, she's known me for a long time. Even before we got married, you know, like I said, we were together out there, and she's still, as good as I'm doing now, she's still trying to understand me more. Because this place messes with us, man. It messes with our minds, and we don't realize it. We don't realize how fucked up we are until we hurt somebody that we love. You know, and we don't do it intentionally. We're not doing it physically. But emotionally, we can be a handful.
Yeah, and for old girl who's listening, you know, who said that she's trying to understand, and thank you, you know, don't trip, you know, that's why we do this. That's what it's about, you know what I mean? And just know this too, though, right? That your man, he doesn't understand it any more than you do. Just know this, like, he's lost in the sauce, you know, like when you have a distorted belief system and a distorted perspective of the world. Like, he's living the life that he knows, and Dave and I can tell you the same thing. Like, we both we drank the Kool-Aid, and I honestly thought that living and dying in prison was an honor that I had obtained by choice, and was like, hey, this is what it's about. I'm on my way, you know. I'm gunning for the prison gang lifestyle, you know, and I was willing to die for this stuff, you know. And again, I had no idea that my perspective of the world was 100% distorted. Like, people ask, well, why was it so hard for you to make the right choice? Like, what are you talking about, the right choice? I made the right choices. Making what I know now is the right choice. That was the wrong choice from the way I perceived the world, and the way that I was taught, and the way that I was bred, you know. And so just know that he's, you know, his perspective of things, like, he may not even understand how bad he's got it sometimes. He's just doing what he knows how to do, and it's not until he's able to get around the right kind of people and he's able to develop some of the insight necessary where it'll start to open him up and enlighten him. You know, like, now I'm in a place in my life now where I'm just like, man, it's embarrassing to think how long I lived blind. You know, here I was, I thought I was somebody. Here I was, I thought I was, you know, that man. I thought I was that dude. But I look back at it, and it's embarrassing to think of the life that I've lived and how obvious it seems. The things that I know today about myself and about the life that I've lived, I look back, and it's like, how did I not know this? Like, this stuff.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
But it's because I was looking at life through a set of lenses that were shaped by a lifetime of trauma, a lifetime of craziness, a lifetime of distorted beliefs, and a lifetime I was basically bankrupt on value, you know what I mean? Like, the things that I valued weren't worth a shit to begin with, you know. So
yeah, my dumbass, I felt good. Like me, I would put in work on the yard, and I was happy as hell to raise my hand, and I didn't realize it that I was giving the dudes who were supposed to be doing this shit an out. Because they were as happy as hell. They were like, oh, cool, this little youngster, you know what I mean, he's gonna go ahead and take care of that for us.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
good-looking camarada, you know. So I would go and I would put in work. I'd drop the yard, and I would hurt somebody, you know. Me and a couple guys that sent a wrecking crew on somebody. We don't even know what it was for, but I was happy to because I was getting my value from what those guys thought about me. And when I walked across the yard and I was all sprayed up, I was hit with them freaking blocks. You know, I was limping and handcuffed, and you know, and I was in a lot of pain from the pepper spray. But in my heart, I felt like I had done something, like I had achieved something, and it was almost like a high.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it again and again and again, man. Yeah. I was in the hole so much because
when you're walking across that yard, instead of you realizing that you're burning, that your asshole, your balls, your face are on fire from pepper spray, all you can think about is, man, I hope I look good for the fellas.
Put it down. Yeah,
you
I
can't
gotta
even see anybody.
Yeah, I gotta make sure that I walk with my head held high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's just insane to think about. You know.
That's how distorted things were for us. You know. So just know that you're.
All right, so the 15 minutes were up, and they should be calling. They should be calling back shortly. Once they do, then we'll go ahead and continue. And I'm going through the messages right now, and I see that I missed a lot. So I'll go ahead and continue reading out these messages as once right now when we reconnect, which shouldn't be that much longer. But yeah, you know what? I'm glad. I mean, that you know, they're able to answer some of your questions as far as, you know, trying to understand, you know, where maybe possibly, you know, their mindset's at.
This call is now being recorded.
Esta es Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello. Yep.
Sorry, I didn't pay no mind to the 60 seconds.
It's all good. I always lose track of myself.
You got anything else right there, James?
Oh yeah, man. We got all kinds of comments right here. So Ms. Vero 559 writes, that's the part I try to understand when I get told I have to do what I have to do. I'm like, what? And then what's more important? I try to understand and be patient and be there. And then we also have Chiquitas. She writes, it's very difficult. Right. It's very difficult to wait. I have waited more than a year. It's very difficult, and without talking to anyone to give him respect, I am with him always, feeding him.
Yeah, that sucks, man. Yeah, that's rough. It's rough to see it from the outside, you know, the outside perspective, because you know we're not. Jess and I understand. That's why we're not trying to be close-minded about it. Be like, oh, well, leave that fool. No, it's not that simple. You're a really strong woman, and I give you my respect.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's all he needs that. And one of these days, that's gonna get him over the hurdle. I know a lot of guys that have hung it up because of that love. I know a lot of guys that said, you know what, my wife just said enough was enough.
And also
that's what they needed, yeah.
And also, I don't want to forget about our watchers and listeners from YouTube. We got Chubby Jessica, we got El Iceman. He wanted me to say hello to the homies for me. And then
I was just thinking about him today, man. El Iceman, what's up, man? Yeah, go ahead.
We also got Amy. And then we also had Fischler. He was gonna call in, but something popped up, and he had like a last minute family visit, so he wasn't able to call in. But he wanted me to let you guys know that you know, he sends his shout out to you guys.
Hey, we send our love right back to him too. If he hears this later,
sure. We look forward to talking to him again.
Amy hadn't heard nothing from Amy in a while.
Yep. Last time Fischler called in, we didn't get a chance to actually speak with him because there was a little glitch in the system, but yeah, we're looking forward to him calling in sometime so we can holler at him. We send him our love, always appreciate his support.
Yep. We gotta check on his
Amy.
Yeah, we gotta check on his San Diego drawing.
Yeah.
Doomsday San Diego, you're talking about?
No, we got Now we got Doomsday San Diego right here. It's in the envelope already.
Yeah.
But we're hoping that the actual good one, the one that we sent out to a real artist, we're hoping that he's done with it by now.
No.
He had it for like a week or so.
No.
Oh, all right, all right.
Yeah, we got Doomsday San Diego. And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go take it down to somebody to have them handwrite it on the top.
There's a cloud of smoke coming up off the water up off the bay, so
Yeah.
we're gonna have them right in that cloud of smoke. Bay San Diego.
Those are from the toxins.
Yeah, those are from the toxins, from the city toxins.
Yep.
And have them throw in a smile now, cry later while they're at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just flat out cry later. We'll go all the way. We'll go all the way to 1990.
Yeah, we're gonna put the prison tower with the spider web and the peacock.
Yep.
Yeah. And so it's just cool to be able to have this platform. You know, it's cool to be able to share some of that information. Hopefully give, some of these other people who are impacted by the system some hope and some advice and some insight. And it's just a trip to be able to just jump on the line and be able to be connected with thousands of people like that. Because the prison it's a small world. You know what I mean? It's the same, just like Groundhog Day in here. Yes, we're applying ourselves. Yes, we're doing a lot of stuff. Our days are busy, sometimes 12-hour days. But so it's cool to be able to go on here and just know that just like that, with the click of the switch or dialing a number or something, that we're able to connect with the world. And so I understand like what the fixation is with social media and things like TikTok, because it's kind of a cool feeling, it feels kind of cool to be able to just reach out and connect to people like that, and again, like you said, utilize our experiences to share with other people and hopefully deter somebody or give somebody some hope,
And we want to hear from the listeners and the viewers also. If there's any topics that you want Jesse and I to talk about, feel free to message James. I don't know how it works with the messaging or whatnot, but yeah, go ahead. Feel free to send your ideas, thoughts, and we like to interact with you guys, with the listeners, the viewers. Yeah, that's why we're here, and hopefully, sometimes it feels good to talk about things, like even if she's not being successful, the last caller, or the listener that's going through this with her husband, even if she's not able to say some of the things to him that she would like to, at least sometimes it feels good just to get it out.
It was a trip to hear. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we just got a question in right now from Xavier, and I want to say two things. The first thing is I'm not sure if anybody that's watching the stream has noticed, we actually have a phone number on the screen. If you call that phone number, you can actually connect with all of us right now. It'll be like a conference call. It's not a three-way, but you could call in as long as you're on something positive and you're not like on some weirdo stuff. Then I'll go ahead and keep the call. If you're on something else, then you're gonna get disconnected. And with that being said, so I have a question from Xavier. Xavier is asking, what made you want to change your life around, and was it easy?
Man, that's a great question. For me, I was in my rock bottom. I was sitting in a cell, man, and I was, like I said, I had just gotten life, and I was actually on meth, and I was coming down hard, man. I mean, I was fucking really coming off that shit, and I feel like I had a moment with God, and I was just, I don't know if any of the listeners out there have ever experienced coming off of a drug like meth. Oh, man, my whole body was freaking, I couldn't breathe. And I was really, really depressed, and I had actually looked around my cell, and I was thinking, fuck, man, I'm going to be in this fucking cell for 40 years. I might never get to, go home again. I might never get to drive again. I might never see the beach again, own a dog. That shit was stressing me the fuck out, man, and the meth wasn't helping, so I said a prayer to God. I asked God for the power to take me off of that shit, man, to help me just get off of this. And I said it with the wholeheartedly. I don't want to do this no more. I can't do this no more. and it didn't change that day. I don't want to say that it changed overnight, but what happened was I got that dirty drug test.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
It happened soon after, and my wife came back in my life. That followed, and it was a sequence of events. That didn't change me. What changed me was when I had got off of the crystal. I got off the meth. I was still selling it, and I looked at it like that was clean. That was what recovery was. You know, just don't get high, smoke weed here and there. Don't do no man, smoke weed here and there. Drink a little bit, push some dope around, make some money. You know, because I had that hustler's mindset, and I was still gang involved. So what I used to do with drugs was I used to use the drugs to manipulate the younger gang members so I can have little wrecking crews so I can get paid. Once I got clean, I kind of lost connection with those youngsters. I wasn't as understanding of them coming off of the drugs. I was more of a dick about it when they would hit me up for papers. You know, that's what we call dope in here, papers. They'd hit me up, hey, what's up? Can I get some? You know, before I would have been like, hell yeah, I'll shoot them a little bit so I can keep them in the pocket. You know, but when I was sober and just slanging, I was kind of an asshole to them. Like, what's up, homie? What you got? You know, like really, like, what do you think I just give this shit out for free? I was more of an asshole. So when I started to do that, I created enemies. That ended up getting me got eventually. You know, when I had two dudes that got me from behind, and when that happened, it just woke something up in me also, where I was thinking like, damn, like it was crazy when it happened. I didn't feel fear. I didn't go down. I fought back, you know, as best I could, but I didn't feel fear. I felt relief. Like it was crazy how to, you know, I can't explain it how it felt. It just felt like fuck, like I can't believe it. Like I'm getting God on a fucking yard. You know, it happened on a 180 level 4. I didn't get God on a lower level, so it's very dangerous. I didn't know if I was getting stabbed. I didn't know how many times I was getting stabbed. I didn't know if the tower was going to shoot me. I can hear shots getting fired. The first hit came pretty hard because they got me from behind. I'm in pretty good shape, so they weren't going to come and get me head up. So I was actually watching something, and they got me from behind, and the first hit came pretty good. They sent 2 good hitters on me, and the first hit dropped me to my knee pretty hard, and it took me to my knee so hard that it took chunks off my knee because the ground is pretty messed up. So when I came up, I was like defending myself. I fought back, of course, but I didn't. I just felt that relief coming over me. Like fuck, I don't like what. Like all kinds of shit was running through my head. Like it's fucking like this might be it. This might be. I might be like, and I didn't think I might die. I didn't know if I was getting stabbed or not, but it just felt like a weight was being lifted off my shoulders. Like these fools, like they're getting me off the yard. Like they're fucking like they're I don't know. It's like it's different than getting jumped out of the gang. You know, it's just I'm getting removed from the yard, which means that I have a decision to make. They put me in the hole after that. I was all right. I was fucking nicked up. I got hit pretty good. But when I went to the hole, man, I wrote my wife like a fucking man. Who knows, man? How I wrote her like an 8-page letter of just how free I felt and how many opportunities I was gonna have now that it's done. You know, and I made a decision to leave the gang during that time, and it was scary. But that's where I started my change. Unfortunately for me, I didn't learn. Shit was coming up, but I was too stubborn to leave the yard. I didn't want to leave. I was like, these motherfuckers are going to have to kill me off this yard. And when it happened, thank God that I didn't die. But it gave me an opportunity to open my eyes. Like, these are supposed to be your homeboys. Yeah, I was a dick here and there, but I put in dumb work for this gang. You know, I was always in trouble. I was always fucking doing something. I was always in the hole. But when that happened, I was relieved, man. And I used that as an opportunity. That was my starting point. And that was over 6 years ago. I haven't been written up since. You know, I've been sober. But yeah, that's what it was, man. It took something violent to open up my eyes.
For me, this is Jesse, and it's crazy that you say that, Dave, because I think it was Bettles 559. I could be mistaken. Sorry if I miscited the name, but
you and your social media.
Yeah, me and my
ignorance.
Exactly. So she said that her vato or her guy tells Ray I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah.
And it's a trip because for years and years and years I believe that. You know what I mean? We both believe that. I had to do what I had to do. There was no other options other than making the necessary choice, which usually was something self-destructive, which usually meant inflicting some sort of harm or putting myself in a bad situation. And I righteously didn't believe that there was any other choices. Because I subscribed to the ideology and I subscribed to the prison gang culture, and that's what it was. But for me, what made me change is I came from the SHU and I came to the SNY yard, and I got here, and within nine months of coming over here to decide, it's just manual. I end up finding myself back in Ad Seg again. It was probably about a year, because I got here in March of 2018. I was almost 2 years. In February of 2020, I was sitting back in the hole again, and I had nobody else to blame, as I previously mentioned. I had nobody else to blame. I couldn't. It wasn't. I didn't do what I had to do, because when you're saying I had to do what I had to do, you're implying that that there was that you had somebody to blame. Like, hey, well, if there was something else to do, I would have done it.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
So for me, when I was sitting back there in Ad Seg, it was like, okay, well, I can't say I had to do what I had to do. What I mean? I'm here simply because I made a choice to continue with the same bullshit, and now look where I'm at. I'm still suffering the same consequences that I was suffering when I was on the...
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Hey, the call's gonna end, James. I'll give you a call back.
Okay. Man, I'm over here stuffing my face. My firme ruca just bought me a plate of pollo guisado, and I was trying to hog it down before this call ended, but I guess I wasn't moving fast enough. Anyhow, Jesse and David shall be calling back shortly, and I'll go ahead and start reading up some more of these comments here on the chat. And yeah, hey, Ms. Vero, call in. The number's on there. That's why I'm putting up the number, so you guys could go ahead and interact with these gentlemen like that. So, like AT&T says, just pick.
Esta es Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
This call is now being recorded.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello, guys.
Yes, what's up?
All right, so we might be having our second caller in today. Ms. Vero said maybe I should call in. Hell yeah, I mean, the number's right there. It's in yellow. You can't miss it. It's like AT&T. Just reach out and touch somebody, right?
That's it.
Pick up the phone.
Reach out and touch Jesse.
But it's a trip though.
Oh shit, they're calling in. Hold on. Let's see. Hello.
Hi, it's Vero.
Hey, Vero, thank you for calling in.
What's up? How you
Hey.
doing? Welcome
Well,
to the
first I
chat.
just want to say how I appreciate this platform, and you guys are giving some really good advice. But I struggle because, he tells me, well, I have to do what I have to. Like, he's in the hole right now for 90 days. And he says, well, I have to do what I have to do. So then I sit there and I tell him, okay, so... all right, okay, I get it. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. But it's like, my question is, am I enabling him? When I say, if I sit there and I agree with him, am I enabling that behavior? I mean, it's not my decision. I'm just trying to stand by his side and be there. You know what I mean?
That's a slippery slope, right? Because it's hard to give you objective advice without sounding like we're right? Because the reality of it is, in a sense, you are enabling him, and I'll be firsthand
Yeah.
because I had somebody that enabled my behavior for years and years and years, and as long as they were okay
Right.
with it, then what was the point of even trying? You know, as long as I didn't realize I
Yeah.
was hurting my daughters and my kids, what was the point of changing my behavior? You know, so. But again, like I tell you, like he genuinely doesn't understand what he's doing. Like when you're living that life, you do what you got to do. You righteously believe that that's your only option. So it's kind of like you can get at him and be like, hey, check it out, man. Like how long am I gonna have to pay the price for your decisions? You know, how long am I gonna have to subject myself to this bullshit? Like I love you. Haven't I shown you how much I love you? Haven't I shown you that I'm willing to do this with you? But when are you gonna start doing this with me? Because that's the reality of it. For a lot of us that are in here living this life, we it's a one-sided relationship. It's all about, hey, do as I say. Now, you know, like we put these expectations on our relationships out there, but yet we're in here living our own life despite how it affects you guys, because even not even just with females, with hyenas or whatever, but also with your kids. You know, like I genuinely, like, I love my kids, I love my family, I've loved, you know, but regardless, I was in love with my lifestyle more than I was them, and I was not willing to make decisions around how I felt about them. I was only willing to make decisions around how I felt about who I was in here and the life I was living. So, I mean, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it wasn't until my daughters and my family started putting their foot down, like, hey, you know what? Like, if you want to do this time by yourself, cool, go ahead. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what it's going to be. Like, we're not going to sit here and be doing this time with you.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
If you're going to continue
Well,
to
yeah,
say
it
to
gets
hell
to a
with us
point-
and what we're going through, go ahead.
Yeah, because it gets to a point where it's like, you know, we got to do what we got to do out here, work hard, you know, to make things happen out here for our own selves. You know what I mean? We got bills, we got everything so expensive, but yet you try to stand by them and do the best that you can by their side too. You know what I mean? And it's not easy.
Have you told him how his actions are affecting you? Been open
Oh yeah, I told
with
them.
them?
I told them,
know
and
that
like right now it's hard. And it's hard right now because we don't have that communication as far as the phone calls or whatnot, because he got 90 days in the hole, and it's just like, okay, so whatever you did to get yourself where you're at right now, and it's like, it affects your family, it affects us out here too, you know?
Yeah.
And my situation's a little harder. My situation's a little harder. He's out of state, so it makes it even worse. So it's not like I can go and see him, you know, every other weekend or every couple weeks, you know. So I'm in a effed up situation.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
The best thing that
I
I
don't
can
know. And I
advise
told him,
just continue to tell him
and
how
he's got
his
2 years.
actions are
He's got
affecting you.
2 years left. Yeah, he's got 2 years left. He got 8 years, and you know, it's like, I don't know. It's just hard. But like with you guys have given some really good. I've been there with him for the last, yeah, not the whole time, but a good amount of time.
Oh, okay.
Nah, that's cool.
So
Yeah.
so really, I think what it boils down to is you, like, how much are you willing to subject yourself to? You, like David said, you got to continue to let him know how it's affecting you, right? But you also have to, like, set yourself some boundaries. You got to be like, hey, man, check this out. Like, if you're not willing to make decisions for us as a whole, if you're not willing to stand on your own 2 feet and say, hey, man, check this out, like, I don't want to subject my girl to this, or I don't want to put myself in a situation where I can't talk to my hyena or my lady because of whatever I'm doing, and you got to, like, set some boundaries for yourself, and it's all, for really what it boils down to is how much are you willing to put up with, you know what I mean, like, before you have to say, like, look, you know what I mean, like, the reality of it is you don't care about me as much as I care about you, because look what I go through in order to talk to you, but what are you willing to sacrifice to talk to me? If you got to sacrifice your pride and your ego, and you got to let some things slide by you, or you got to stop subjecting yourself to bullshit, because there's nothing, haven't I showed you there's nothing that I won't do to be here with you? Why are you not showing me the same commitment?
And that's what I've thought about too. Is like, okay, well, then just kind of, how do I say this not to sound messed up? Like, to just be like, all right, then you do what you got to do and figure it out, and I'm going to do me. You know, I've gotten to that point too, but I haven't done that yet.
That's what my wife did. That's what
I haven't,
my
but
wife
I'm like
did.
really
Sometimes
close.
that's
I'm like,
yeah. I
to make him,
my wife did that, and I made a
understand
choice,
and make him appreciate, make him appreciate what he really has.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
and it works.
Yeah.
It works because when you're in here and you're doing this time, the last thing you want to do is this time by yourself, and if he comes to realize that, like, hey, you know what, she's serious this time. Like, a lot of times it's like, oh, she's upset, but she'll get over it. Oh, she understands. It's not till he comes to the realization that, like, you know what, man, my lady's gonna end up dipping, and like I said, not to say that you got to bounce on him, or you also don't want to be the boy who cried wolf either, the girl who cried wolf. Like, if you serious about how you feel about it, you got to let him know, like, look, man, like, you figure out what it is you need to figure out. Just know that I'm here, but I got to live my life because clearly you're not making decisions that are best for us. I have to continue doing what I have to do for myself. And if you serious about this, about what we're doing, then it'll start to show in its in your behavior. It'll start to show in your actions, because love is it's an action. It's not a word. It's not a feeling. Love is an action. And you gotta start showing it. And like Dave said, you start setting them ultimatums. When my family started setting ultimatums, it started to make me think, like, man, you know what? Do I really want to be in prison doing this shit for the rest of my life by myself? And the truth about it was, if I didn't change my life, I was going to die in prison. That's just the reality.
Yeah, and even remember the behavior that you do in here, you gotta prepare for out there. So when something happens and you need them out there, but you tell them, hey, I need you to stay here with me tonight. I need this to happen. And he's like, well, I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah, the homies need me to go over there.
We got to do what we got to do. It's just what it is. That's not fair to you.
That's why I commented earlier, and I said that's the part that worries me, because it's like, okay, if he's got that mentality right now, like, what's his mentality going to be when he gets out? It's like you guys said a little while ago, a couple calls back. Like, if he doesn't change now, it's going to be the same shit when he comes home.
That's it. Yeah, it's the same.
And I already told him. He goes. I already told him. And this might sound. I already told him and said, "You go back again. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm not going to do this." There's only so much that a person can take. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, that shit sucks.
So, yeah.
Especially from us. Look what we got. We got life sentences. Yeah.
Is that, yeah.
It's just a matter of time before he ends up in this situation. This shit is not cool. Yeah. So.
All right. Well,
just
thank
hang
you
in there,
guys.
be strong. You sound like a strong person. Just be strong.
Yeah,
no, for sure.
Okay.
We're here anytime.
Hey, don't let this life affect your life. Don't let gang decisions, gang ideologies, work perceptions. Don't let that affect how you have to live out there. You didn't sign up for this. He signed up for this.
Right.
That's what he wants to do. That's not your responsibility, and that's not your commitment. That's not your obligation.
It's heartbreaking, though.
It is. It is heartbreaking, and we know that
It really
because we did that
is.
to our
It
people.
really is. Sucks, but well, thank you guys. I'm still listening, but thank you for all the advice. Okay.
All right. No problem.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for calling in. Thanks for your support.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey.
Man, so I stepped away
It's heartbreaking, man. Yeah.
I stepped away for a quick minute because my wife had brought me a plate of food, so I was taking it back to the kitchen, and I caught her. She was all there listening to the live. I was like, all right. And then I was like, man, I'm going to have to set up Jesse and David with a show where they get about advice. We're going to be charging $59.99 per hour.
Yep, that's right. Yep. But it's hard in that situation. Like we could put answers and we could put words and things to real life problems, right? But it's hard when the dynamic is somebody that's locked up, because the last thing you ever want to do is dirty Mac or speak on somebody just because we see things the way we do now and understand life and reality as it is now. You can't just go out and tell this chick, hey man, that dude's an idiot, because the reality is I was an idiot. You know what I mean? There's a lot more involved. We did stupid things, but we were still good people. Right. Well, in a sense, yeah, we were. Yeah, except for Jesse. Yeah. No, we were stone cold scumbags. Yeah, and that's the truth about it. But the thing is to tell her, like, hey, you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you straight up. That dude, if he's still fucking up, he's in the hole. And he's getting out in 2 years. There's a very small chance he's gonna get out and do anything other than what he's doing right now. Yeah. But the reality is, you never know when somebody reaches their rock bottom and they have their breaking point. Having a strong woman in your corner sometimes is a motive. Not sometimes, a lot of times could be a motivating factor, but she has to do it the right way, and it's hard because, like, I want to tell her straight out, like, hey, this is the reality.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
You know, so when you're giving that advice to somebody who's dealing with a relationship in prison, you're trying to be as objective as you can without like being too one-sided, because I understand his perspective and I understand her perspective. You know, like she's 100% valid in the way she feels, and I genuinely feel she has to set some kind of boundaries. But I also understand that he truly believes that he has no other option. When he's saying I had to do what I had to do, I believe that that's what he felt, because there's time and time again that I felt that there was no other option than to make the stupid choices that I made. You know, because they were influenced by what I believed was right, what I believed was wrong. Was that yard?
I don't know. Let's see.
And so they, you know, so it's just hard to give, you know, to give advice, you know, that's not too one-sided or you know.
Now we heard some yelling out there, so we were both at the door.
Shelly's got post-traumatic stress disorder. He heard some screaming and he jumped under the bed. Hold on, let me get the tablet back from him.
Were they saying that there's a chili lime shortage, a chili lime sopa shortage?
Hey, you can't even say that out loud. What are you trying to do? Cause a panic?
Yeah.
You're trying to cause a stampede in here? What's the matter with you?
Don't say chili lime on the air like that.
Yeah, shortage. Yeah, next you know you're gonna say there's another sriracha shortage. You're gonna Jesse will freak out. That's his trigger word.
Yeah, do not put sriracha on the shortage again.
Now, but we're gonna go to yard pretty soon, James. Do you want us to do another call, or do you want us to
Yeah. If you guys still got enough for one, then let's run one more. And you know, I got a lot more questions on here. So let me at least get through a few more, because you know we do have some people that have been on here since we started the live.
Now we could talk until they open the door for yard, which may be anywhere from now until 7.
Okay.
So go ahead.
And this question came in from Miss Dorado. This was like earlier on the stream. She wants to know. I want to know if you have ever been contacted by the victim's family. What would you say to them?
Oh, I love it. I wish you would have given that question earlier, because
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Hey, we're gonna call back with the fresh call real quick, because
it's questions like that though why we do this podcast, because those are the kind of questions that people need to understand, and that's the insightful questions right there.
I'm gonna call back right now.
All right. So the 15-minute mark was coming up. This call was about to be disconnected, but they went ahead and pulled the plug before. So right now, they'll go ahead and give us a call back. We'll go ahead and continue up until they pop their doors. Right now, they're waiting to be let out for yard or la yarda, and so we'll go ahead and run it until that time, and then you know, hopefully you guys stick around, and hopefully you guys are getting some value, you know, from these conversations. Like I said, you know, everybody that comes on has a different different mentality, and are offering different things.
This call is now being recorded.
Este es Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have it. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello.
All right. Yeah. All right. So look, this is David. I'm gonna answer that question first. I think about that scenario often. If I can talk to the individual family that I killed, what would I say? You know, and I didn't make a statement when I got sentenced. My crime, for those of you that weren't able to look at the news and stuff like that, I went to sell a gun to a guy, and I ended up shooting and killing him during the transaction. So I would tell them that I'm sorry, and that I understand now how harmful my actions were to them. I can't say anything to him now because he's gone, he's dead. But I would, if I could, I would also tell him that I'm sorry. I didn't go there that night to kill him, but I did go there with the gun. I did bring an extra clip with me, and I went there. I went there with the mentality that I would have shot and killed anybody that messed with me at that time. That was the kind of person that I was then. That individual happened to cross my path. We had a disagreement as far as our transaction went, and I ended up killing him. I would want his family to know that I acknowledge what I did. I'm not denying that I was the shooter. I want them to know what I did. I take responsibility. I take responsibility for what I did. I'm crushed that I put them through that, but it's not about me. It's not about what I feel. It's about me knowing what they feel. I do have empathy for them, and it's a terrible thing that I did, and I can't express it enough how sorry I am that the old me was who showed up that night, and that in his honor, that's why I don't hurt anybody else. I don't hurt people anymore, because I'm able to understand how my actions affect everybody. I decided to stay clean. I got clean initially because I was on a mandatory drug test. My wife and my son, they're the reasons why I wanted to stay clean. But I don't stay clean just for them. Now I stay clean for me. And I stay clean in honor of the people that I hurt. And then I want to use this story to try to save lives. And nothing in this world is more important than human life. And that's there's so much more that I would say to them, but I just, they haven't reached out to me. I don't expect them to reach out to me. I don't feel like I deserve their forgiveness. And that's not why I'm on this path. I'm on this path just to honor my victims.
Yeah. To piggyback off what Dave said, this is Jesse Nala. I committed a heinous murder when I was 17 years old. I was paid to murder somebody.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I thought so little of human life. I was more worried about being accepted and being validated by other gang members and other people of a criminal element that I agreed to murder an innocent man. It wasn't even about the money. It was more about the acceptance of these unsavory individuals. And at 17 years old, I thought I was a grown-ass man. I thought I knew, what time it was. I thought I knew what it was. But, I look back at it now, and it's embarrassing to think that I needed to be accepted by people that bad. And I was willing to throw my life away. Not just my life, but I was willing to murder an innocent man. And not just him, but I also victimized his family, his loved ones, and so many other people in the process. My family, my kids. And it's crazy to think about the ripple effect, So if I was ever contacted, by the person who I murdered, the individual who I murdered, if I was ever contacted by his family, what would I tell them? There's nothing that I could say that would make it any different, that would change the fact, because the decision that I made is definite. I can never bring back, their loved one. I can never undo what I've done, And there's 1,000 sorries in the world won't change anything, And what makes it even worse is, for the next 20-something years after I committed that vicious murder, I continued to hurt other people and live my life just as destructively as I did the night that I chose to shoot their loved one. So if I could speak with them today, I would absolutely apologize you know, and I would acknowledge that 1,000 apologies, you know, wouldn't be enough, you know, and I apologize for continuing to live the life that I lived for so long, for not validating what they were going through and not even understanding. You know, I played the victim for many years. I played the victim, like the system did me wrong. The life I was dealt wasn't fair. You know, it wasn't until a few years ago that I came to understand, you know, that I developed empathy and understand how the life I was living affected people, that I was able to go back and say, okay, well, just imagine how you affected the people, the family members of the individuals that you hurt, the people that you murdered, and things like that. So if I could speak with them, you know, I would just ask them to look at who I am today, and just know that every decision that I make in my life is the life I live. And like Dave said, I do it to honor their, you know, when I ever step out there, look about my day, I stay mindful. I stay. My victim is ever present with me. You know, if decisions are, how would this look to him? You know, how would he perceive this? Because I'm fulfilling opportunities, and I'm putting the opportunities that I have because I stole that from him. You know, and I would explain that to his family, that I totally understand. I appreciate life because I have an obligation. I have an obligation to live, to honor that, and to basically capitalize on opportunities that I stole from him. You know, and so it sucks because there's no amount of giving back, there's no amount of amends, there's no amount of apologies that can actually rectify all the destruction
or bring them back.
Or bring them back. Right.
Undone is a final decision.
Right. So, you know, I would just let them know that everything that I'm doing today is in an effort to try to honor him, because I can never make right what I've done. All I can do is try to honor the life that I've stolen, and the life that I took for granted, not just his, but mine and everybody else who's come into contact with me along the way, you know, and in hopes that they'll find at least a little bit of comfort of knowing that I'll never hurt another person again, a little comfort of knowing that I didn't, because I'm sure there was so much confusion, there's so much hurt. Like, this is a law-abiding citizen, this is a very successful man, this is a great person, and to think that he came to this country, you know, for a better life and for success, and yet, you know, I robbed them of that, you know. And so I would hope that they would find a little bit of comfort in knowing that I'm not just walking through life still today, you know, like blind to all this fact, blind to the pain that I've caused them, you know, and hopefully that they would know that you know, in some way, shape, or form, that I'm able to give back, you know, in his honor. And that's kind of why we do this channel and why we do what we do, because we want other people to understand, you know, like that there's been such a negative ripple effect by the choices that we made, that if we can even rectify even a little bit of it, you know, then I'll feel better. You know?
And no matter what you've done, you could change your life. You don't have to continue the cycle of destruction. You could stop it at any time. You can make a decision, a conscious decision today, and you could say, you know what, I'm not doing this no more. I'm done. I'm no longer going to victimize another person. And it won't be easy, because you've developed those habits of responding to certain situations with violence, with drug addiction. It's not easy. You have to
easy about you.
No, you have to undo a lifetime of bad decisions.
Of conditioning.
Yeah, of conditioning, you know. And so when I said that I got clean and I didn't want to hurt nobody anymore, I had a freaking a rude awakening. I didn't, but I was close. I wanted to knock somebody out from time to time. But yeah, they just called Yard right now, James.
All right, hey, before you guys go, I got one last one last question that I gotta throw in there right here, and it's from Higher Los. He says, "What's the infamous taffy recipe? Inquiring minds want to know."
Damn! Oh, shit.
I am not going to tell the taffy recipe.
Yeah, James, get out of town. Watch out. They're coming for the recipe. They're coming for the recipe. Hey, I want to send my love to Higher Laws and Lex Luth and everybody else that's listening, support. Send our love to them. We appreciate them being there, and they will have to kill me. They are not getting the recipe.
Yep. And I want to send my love to my wife, to my family, to all the supporters, man. Everybody that called in with these really excellent questions, man. We normally go back on YouTube every Sunday at 4. If you guys want us to come on sooner, harass James.
Yep,
And maybe
yep.
we'll make some time to go on there, But I appreciate all you guys for all you struggling with people in prison, family, loved one in prison, man. Just keep on pushing, man. Keep on fighting, be strong. We're all gonna get home eventually. All right, thank you guys. Thank you, James.
Hey, that's right. And like I say around
Say
here, go ahead, Jesse.
No, say it. I want to hear you say it. Like you say around here. That's what I'm waiting for.
Hey, like we say around here, lights like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out.
That's right.
That's
We're
right.
going to yard, man. You guys have a good night. Thank you for everybody's listening. We send our love to those who love us. We appreciate everything.
Yep. Like.
All right, and with that, we are out. Hey, I appreciate it. You guys go ahead and check us out on YouTube. Right, the page is right there on the wall, so you guys don't get lost and confused and navigate to the wrong channel. But with that being said, I'm out of here. I gotta go ahead and my wife just took off. I'm here with my daughter, so it's time for me to focus on my daughter and take care of my my responsibilities here in the household. But once again, like I said, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. And with that, I am out.